The Carolinas and several other mid-Atlantic states are preparing for a round of strong thunderstorms carrying the threat of flash flooding. The storm system that left hundreds of roads flooded in eastern Tennessee over the weekend is slowly moving northeast, leaving nearly 6 million people under flash flood watches and warnings. According to CNN meteorologist Michael Guy, a high risk of flash flooding is threatening Charleston, South Carolina to Fayetteville, North Carolina, where residents could see as much as 6 to 10 inches of rainfall through Tuesday morning. Over the weekend, storms carrying about 2 to 4 inches of rain resulted in flash floods in areas parched from drought in Tennessee and southwestern Virginia.
Sunday, the Pentagon called for the isolated communist nation of North Korea to avoid destabilizing the situation further. Tensions between the two nations continue to rise. Pentagon spokesman Gary Ross said, "We'll call on North Korea to refrain from provocative, destabilizing actions and rhetoric, and to make the strategic choice to fulfill its international obligations and commitments and return to serious talks." North Korea's unlawful weapons program represents a clear, grave threat to U.S. national security. Just hours before the statement, a North Korean newspaper said Pyongyang was ready to take out a U.S. aircraft carrier conducting drills with Japanese destroyers near the Philippines.
The death toll from a meningitis outbreak in Nigeria has risen well into the hundreds. The Nigerian Center for Disease Control said 745 people had died from cerebrospinal meningitis, or CSM, as of April 17th. CSM is a bacterial form of meningitis. Bacterial meningitis is often seen in sub-Saharan African countries, sometimes referred to as the meningitis belt. CSM is currently affecting 5 states in northeastern Nigeria. The Nigerian Health Ministry said this isn't the first or the worst meningitis outbreak in the country's history. An outbreak killed more than 11,000 in 1996. But the country's Center for Disease Control is partnering with national and international health groups to address the outbreak. The center said it is increasing surveillance and reporting of the disease, as well as vaccinations and treatment for high-risk populations. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Carrie Caldwell.
Chinese President Xi Jinping reportedly urged President Donald Trump to show restraint when dealing with North Korea during a phone call between the two world leaders Monday. On April 24th, state broadcaster CCTV quoted Xi as telling Trump that China strongly opposed North Korea's nuclear weapons program, which are in violation of United Nations Security Council resolutions. Xi added that he hoped, quote, all parties will exercise restraint and avoid aggravating the situation on the Korean peninsula. Trump also spoke with Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe on Monday. Afterwards, Abe told reporters he would continue to maintain close contact with the U.S., saying that North Korea's nuclear program represents a serious security threat to Japan. The phone calls came amid speculation that Pyongyang could hold a 6th nuclear test this week. For Newsbeat Social from Washington, D.C., I'm Caitlin Mangum.
An Indian court has issued a non-bailable warrant for Islamic preacher Zakir Naik. The court made its ruling April 20th after India's National Intelligence Agency said Naik hasn't responded to multiple requests for questioning. The Times of India reports Judge V.V. Patil said, quote, there are reasonable grounds to believe that Dr. Zakir Naik is evading arrest. Naik left India last year after attackers who killed more than 20 people in a bakery in Dhaka said they had been inspired by him. The Times of India says Naik's ideas have a reputation for being radical, and the NIA believes Naik's lectures are encouraging Islamic extremism. The NIA is asking Interpol to help bring Naik back to India. Naik was seen in Malaysia last week. He told the Malay Mail Online he will only talk to authorities by phone, saying, quote, if I go there, they will torture. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Neela Uni.
According to sources at the Wall Street Journal, retail giant Amazon has created its own firm for autonomous vehicles to focus on the potential of utilizing driverless technology to improve its service. Amazon has been no stranger to making its own products, as seen from their tablets and set-up boxes. However, Amazon's interests in self-driving cars is more about improving and growing the company towards a new future than about sales. Amazon is reportedly researching how to use the tech to lower shipping costs. This is similar to the company's initiative to use drones to deliver packages instantly.
18 years ago, Cecil Bourne was murdered in the yard of his home in Varner, Arkansas. His wife, Jeannie Bourne, and their family have waited a long time for justice in the murder of their loved one. Kenneth Williams was convicted and sentenced to death in that murder, and now he will be the man set to die in an aggressive schedule put forth by Governor Asa Hutchinson. "It's never been this close," said Cecil's daughter. "We've never gotten within 2 weeks ever before, but you just wonder, is this the time it happens?" As the Borns family remains steadfast in ensuring the sentence is carried out, activists argue that even the waiting is cruel for both the inmates and the victims' families.
Clues into our ancient past have been found carved in stone. Scientists at the University of Edinburgh made the discovery in southern Turkey at a site called Göbekli Tepe. Ruins at the site are thought to represent the world's first temple. Over the past 2 decades, archaeologists have unearthed 200 pillars, one of which is called the Vulture Stone. This pillar is marked by carvings. Scientists use computer technology to decode their meaning. Findings were published in the journal Mediterranean Archaeology and Archaeometry. Carvings matched zodiac symbols in the night sky. These were dated to the summer solstice of 10,950 BC. The symbols suggest a major comet struck Earth at the same time as a mini ice age, causing death and disaster. This supports the theory that the comet impact triggered the ice age, which wiped out people and animals like mammoths and forced ancient humans to develop agriculture and civilization. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Kimberly Caldwell.
We must stamp out prejudice and anti-Semitism everywhere it is found.
Anti-Semitic incidents, from bomb threats and cemetery desecration to assaults and bullying, have surged in the United States since the election of President Donald Trump. The Anti-Defamation League said on Monday that a heightened political atmosphere played a role in the rise. A sharp increase in the harassment of American Jews, including double the incidents of bullying of school children and vandalism at non-denominational grade schools, was cited in the ADL's audit of anti-Semitic incidents. Overall, the number of acts targeting Jews and Jewish institutions rose 34% in 2016 to 1,266 in 2016 and jumped 86% in the first quarter of 2017.
On Monday, Caitlyn Jenner opened up about her new memoir detailing her transition and the bumps along the way, including her 3 failed marriages, thoughts of suicide while she was relentlessly pursued by paparazzi, and finally, freedom to be her true self. Out this week, The Secrets of My Life also describes her liberating gender reassignment surgery on the very last page, the final surgery as she calls it. And she insists it's the last word for her about it.
Late Sunday, China's Xi Jinping called for restraint during an overnight call about North Korea with President Donald Trump. The call came as Japan conducted joint drills with the U.S. aircraft carrier strike group headed for the tense region. According to the Chinese Foreign Ministry, which released details of the call on Monday morning, Xi told Trump that China hoped all parties will exercise restraint and avoid aggravating the situation on the Korean peninsula. The White House confirmed the calls Monday, stating that Xi and Trump reaffirmed the urgency of the threat posed by North Korea's missile and nuclear programs and committed to strengthen coordination in achieving the denuclearization of the Korean peninsula.
An epilepsy drug harmed thousands of unborn children in France. France's National Agency for the Safety of Medicines published a report on April 20th on the risks of using the drug valproate. The findings suggest the drugs may have caused serious birth defects in up to 4,100 children. Birth defects linked to the drug include spina bifida and other physical impairments. The drug now comes with clear warning labels, but for many, this warning has come too late. The Telegraph said the drug was prescribed up to 100,000 pregnant women between its release in 1967 and 2016. Affected parents are blaming the French state and the drug manufacturer Sanofi, saying they knew about the side effects in the 1980s but failed to warn users about the risks involved. The next step for the French Drug Authority is to publish a study on neurological effects of valproate. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Rachel Latham.
Ghana, Kenya, and Malawi have been chosen by the World Health Organization to be the first 3 countries to test the world's first malaria vaccine. Malaria infects more than 200 million people every year, killing nearly 500,000 people, mainly in Africa. It remains one of the world's most stubborn health challenges, but the WHO hopes that the new injectable vaccine will work as a malaria control tool. WHO's regional director for Africa said such a vaccine would have the potential to save tens of thousands of lives in Africa.
A mysterious creature once walked the mountains separating France and Spain millions of years ago. Scientists say they know this because, well, it left footprints. That's a dead giveaway. The fossilized prints were recently found in the Pyrenees Mountains in Catalonia. Scientists from the Universidad Autónoma de Barcelona in Spain say the tracks were made around 248 million years ago. That time frame is important because a mere 2 million years earlier, the Earth experienced a mass extinction event that wiped out most creatures. Most of the animals that made these prints are thought to have been reptilian ancestors of crocodiles and dinosaurs called archosauromorphs. But there was also a previously unknown reptile among the group. Scientists named it Probotodactylus mesozonicnus, according to new research published in the journal PLOS ONE. Experts hope to find fossils of the animals that made all of these tracks in order to learn more. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Kimberly Caldwell.
In an interview on the Today Show Monday, Nikki Haley, the U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, said that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un is starting to flex his muscles because he feels pressure. Haley went on to add that it will be a new day when the U.S. and China are working together to contain North Korea, saying they shouldn't give us a reason to fight. When asked about protecting South Korea, Haley said, "We want to protect them just as we're protecting ourselves, and that's what we said we were going to do."
CNN is reporting threats from North Korea, specifically in direct response to American aircraft carrier USS Carl Vinson having begun the process of initiating joint drills with 2 Japanese destroyers. According to CNN, the Ashigara and Samudare destroyers are scheduled to take part in tactical training drills with the U.S. carrier near the Philippines, according to the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force. In response, North Korea's state-run newspaper published an editorial stating the country is ready to illustrate its military force by sinking a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier.
More than a third of children have had to ask their parents to get off the internet, with many saying it disrupts family life, according to a survey. It turns out that as much as parents are worried about their children's internet habits, children are similarly worried about their parents. According to a new survey, 36% of children between 11 and 18 have asked their parents to stop checking their phones. Of these, 46% said that their requests were ignored, and 44% said it made them feel upset. Internet habits could be well affecting quality family time, with 22% of children saying that mobile use stopped their family enjoying one another's company. The students were also traditional about table manners, with 82% saying they thought phones should be banned at meal times. On the other end of the spectrum, only 10% of parents thought their internet usage concerned their children, showing a disparity between parental perceptions and children's actual feelings. However, parents did recognize their phone use might be excessive, with 43% of parents saying they spent too much time online.
A Philippine lawmaker says the Chinese Navy harassed a group of Filipino fishermen in the disputed South China Sea. Representative Gary Alejano says shots were fired in the air and a Chinese boat gave chase as the fishermen sailed to safety. Initial reports suggested the incident involved the Chinese Coast Guard, but after talking to the fishermen, Alejano said the incident was instigated by the Chinese Navy. The Inquirer reports the Philippine Department of Foreign Affairs is still working to verify the incident. The Chinese Foreign Ministry is also reportedly looking into the reports. But Alejano has already condemned the purported actions through a House resolution, which urges President Rodrigo Duterte to file a diplomatic protest against China. Alejano writes in the resolution that the incident took place within the exclusive economic zone of the Philippines. China claims almost all of the South China Sea as its own. However, the Philippines, Taiwan, and Vietnam have staked their own claims as well. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Matt Paul. Nuclear shelter sales have reportedly spiked in Japan as the world community condemns North Korea's ballistic missile and nuclear ambitions. Reuters reports a Kobe-based company has already received 8 orders in April alone. That's already more than the 6 orders it typically gets in an entire year. The company director tells Reuters, quote, "It takes time and money to build a shelter, but all we hear these days is that they want one now." Construction of a nuclear shelter runs about 25 million yen, which is more than $250,000 US. The Sea of Japan is all that separates the country from the Korean peninsula. As test launches continue, several North Korean missiles have landed in waters within Japan's exclusive economic zone. The United Nations Security Council condemned North Korea's latest attempt at a launch. On April 20th, members said the illegal activities are, quote, "greatly increasing tensions in the region and beyond." For Newsbeat Social, I'm Matt Paul.
Russia's top court banned Jehovah's Witnesses as an extremist organization. On April 20th, the court ordered the religious organization to close its headquarters in St. Petersburg and all of its 395 local chapters. The Jehovah's Witnesses Russian website says the date may represent a black day for religious freedom in Russia. The Supreme Court first heard the Justice Ministry's request to ban the religious group and declared extremist earlier this month. Lawyers for the Jehovah's Witnesses filed a counterclaim and said the Justice Ministry's suit was political repression and illegal. But after 6 recent days of court hearings, the court ruled against the religious group. There are an estimated 175,000 Jehovah's Witnesses in Russia. Their practice was originally banned in the 1930s under Joseph Stalin's rule, but was again allowed in 1991. The religious organization said it is preparing to appeal the order. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Kimberly Caldwell.
Drink diet soda? If you answered yes, then you'll probably want to hear this report. According to new research, people who drink artificially sweetened soft drinks may be at an increased risk of stroke and dementia. The study showed people who drank just one artificially sweetened soda a day were nearly 3 times more likely to have an ischemic stroke caused by blocked blood vessels compared to those who didn't imbibe. They were also almost 3 times as likely to suffer from dementia. Findings of the study were published April 20th in the American Heart Association's journal Stroke. The results, however, only drew an association between diet soda and higher rates of stroke and dementia. Researchers weren't able to establish a concrete cause and effect relationship. The study prompted the American Beverage Association to issue a response in defense of low-calorie sweeteners, saying they were, quote, safe for consumption. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Neela Uni.
The nation's agriculture industry fears that President Donald Trump's crackdown on illegal immigration will deprive the industry of the labor needed to plant, grow, and pick the crops that feed America. Many farmers have started lobbying politicians to handle immigration in a way that won't jeopardize their crops and livelihood. According to a Pew Research study, farming uses a higher percentage of illegal labor than any other industry in the United States. Of the roughly 800,000 crop workers in the country, 46% are illegal immigrants.
Scientists have embarked on a quest to find the planet's missing species. U.S.-based organization Global Wildlife Conservation launched the Search for Lost Species campaign April 19th. Scientists are looking for more than 1,200 species in over 160 different countries. The first phase of the expedition focuses on finding 25 species that haven't been seen for at least a decade. They include a pink-headed duck last spotted almost 70 years ago in India and an Australian bullneck seahorse that has never been seen in the wild. The rediscovery of species aims to provide insight into how best to conserve them. Scientists also hope to update information about the animals' status. The more than 24 animals being searched for are all listed from vulnerable to possibly extinct. Global Wildlife Conservation's communications director Robin Moore said, quote, for many of these forgotten species, this is likely their last chance to be saved from extinction. For Newsbeat Social, I'm Neela Uni.